a plea for salvation, broadcast into the endless dark, was intercepted by the one civilization the entire galaxy hoped would never look up. The research vessel Ethereal Chord floated in the silent expanse between solar systems, its pearlescent hull shimmering under the light of a dying star. On the command deck, Captain Vale gazed at the stellar cartography display, her mind tracing the paths of unknown nebulae. Her large, dark eyes reflected the swirling constellations of a sector never before mapped by her people. "Status update," she requested, her voice a soft melody in the quiet hum of the ship. "All systems stable, Captain," reported her first Kellen, his thin fingers dancing across a luminescent interface. "Navigation confirms we're precisely on schedule." Both were Lithen, a species evolved for grace and intellect on a serene, low-gravity homeworld named Serenity. Their forms were slender, their bones delicate, their technology born from millennia of collective curiosity and peaceful cooperation, not conflict. This was a mission of pure discovery, to map stellar nurseries and document cosmic wonders. The very concept of war was a historical footnote, a tragic aberration their civilization had outgrown centuries ago. That's when the proximity alert screamed to life, a klaxon that shredded the calm. "Unidentified signatures," called the sensor officer Lyra, her voice rising an octave. 3 contacts emerging from the magnetosphere of the gas giant, bearing down on us from the stellar debris field. Energy profiles are aggressive. "Captain, they're arming weapon systems." Vale's twin hearts hammered against her ribs. "Raise defensive screens. Plot an emergency jump vector. Now!" But the Lithen body was not built for panic. A flood of biochemical dread, an evolutionary relic meant to trigger immediate flight, now threatened to paralyze the crew. Their advanced minds, so adept at philosophy and physics, scrambled under the onslaught of primal fear. On the main viewer, the sleek alien pursuers closed with terrifying speed, jagged, brutal craft of burnished black alloy, devoid of any peaceful insignia, their silhouette speaking only of predation. The first impact shuddered through the ethereal chord, a deafening roar of shearing metal and failing energy fields. Console lights flickered and died, only to be replaced by the angry crimson glow of emergency strips. Shields buckling at 40%. An attacker's transmission pierced the chaos. A venomous is filtered through a crude translator. "Lithen vessel. Power down your core. Your ship is salvage. Your crew is now property of Thar. Pirates. The galaxy scavengers." They knew species like the Lithen were philosophically and physically defenseless, ripe for the taking. "Send a distress pulse." Vale ordered, her knuckles white as she gripped the arms of her command chair. "Broadcast on all standard galactic bands. Maximum power. The long-range array is damaged, Captain." Trell, the communications officer, shouted over the alarms. "The targeting matrix is scrambled. I can't direct it toward Confederation space." "I don't care. Just send it into the void. Anyone." In that moment of terrified haste, a critical error was made. A trembling finger input a transposed sequence. The distress call was not aimed toward the nearby Allied clusters. Instead, it was flung wildly off course, a message in a bottle hurled into the cosmic ocean's most violent storm. It hurtled into a region of space every Lithen navigational chart marked with a single, chilling label, Quarantine Zone. A sector whispered about in academic conferences and feared by long-haul freighters on Ethereal Chord. The Thar boarding pods, like metallic ticks, slammed into the hull with resonant thuds. Vale looked at her bridge crew, their faces pale with terror. They had no evolutionary tools to manage. She prepared them for a grim, final stand with nothing but data wands and integrity. They had sent their cry into the void. They never dreamed who or what would be listening. Far away, on the bridge of the U.S. Vanguard, Admiral Thorne reviewed the strange, repeating signal. His was a face carved by decades of command, eyes that had seen the aftermath of orbital bombardments and the hard dawn of first contacts. A distress call, non-human origin. "Compression algorithm is unfamiliar," he stated, his voice a low rumble. "Coordinates place it in deep, unclaimed space. A backwater. Standard protocol advises we contact Sol Command and await a diplomatic assessment, sir." his XO, Commander Alistair Reed, stated, ever the voice of procedure. He held a data slate filled with potential political ramifications. Thorne's eyes never left a pulsating signal marker on the tactical hologram. He saw not just a light, but a timeline. By the time the paperwork clears and the committee's debate, Commander, that light would have been a funeral pyre for hours. Set an intercept course. Maximum burn. Authorized reactor override on my authority. Sir, the strain on the engines is preferable to the strain on my conscience, Commander. Make it happen. When the universe calls for help, humanity answers. It was an unspoken creed, born not from galactic law, but from an ancient planetary history where to be alone was to die. The human battle group, 5 warships forged in the fires of a violent cradle world, ripped through the fabric of subspace. The Vanguard, a spearhead of plated armor, the cruisers resolute and dauntless, the frigate swift and arrow. They were a species sculpted by ice ages, predators, supervolcanoes, and relentless competition. Their ships were not graceful instruments of science. They were blunt, powerful instruments of resolved will, their hulls scarred from meteor showers no other species would dare traverse. Inside, Marines checked their powered combat exoskeletons, weapons that were extensions of their own formidable physiology. Back on the Lithen ship, the Cthar breached the main corridor with a shower of molten door seal. Their reptilian forms, clad in scavenged armor, filled the hallway with guttural clicks. Captain Vale, barricaded on the bridge, could hear the screech of plasma cutters biting into the final barrier. Hope was a fading ember. Then, the entire vessel trembled from a new, massive external impact, different from the weapon's fire. A deep, resonant thrum that vibrated in the bones. What was that? A Cthar pirate snarled over their internal comms, confusion evident. A debris strike? Negative. New contacts. 3, 5 signatures. Where in the void did these ships come from? Outside, the human fleet dropped from FTL in a silent burst of distorted starlight. Admiral Thorne took in a tactical display with a cold, analytical stare. One graceful, wounded Lithen vessel, like a wounded swan, besieged by 3 vulture-like Cthar ships. Hail the aggressors. Use a standard first contact pacification package, then a clear demand. Order them to disengage and withdraw. The face that appeared on the Vanguard view screen was all sharp angles and hostile intent. Newcomers. The Cthar warlord Grak hissed, vertical pupils narrowing. You drift into Cthar business. This system is ours. This prize is ours. Turn your pretty ships around and leave, or we will add you to the salvage pile. They're targeting us, Admiral, Reed said calmly. Weapon locks detected. Thorne didn't blink. Then we reply in a language they seem to understand. All ships execute battle pattern Theta. Surgical strikes only. Disable, don't destroy. Let's give them a chance to learn. What happened next wasn't a battle. It was a clinical demonstration, a masterclass in applied force. The human vessels moved with an agility that defied their mass, a product of gravity manipulation tech other races found recklessly dangerous. Precision particle beams, calibrated to a micrometer, lanced out. They did not aim for reactors or life support. They severed primary weapon conduits, sliced through engine-to-cell couplings, and targeted shield projector nodes. It was a systematic dismantling. Within minutes, the 3 Cthar vessels were adrift, powerless, dark, and utterly humiliated. Not a single life was lost on the Ethereal Chord's crumbling bridge. The pounding at the door had stopped. An eerie silence fell, broken only by the crackle of damaged wiring. The main scanner flickered back to life, showing impossible. The Cthar ships, their energy signatures are gone, First Officer Kellen whispered, his voice hollow with awe. They're just drifting. Who are these newcomers? A new voice filled their comms, deep, steady, and utterly alien in its cadence. Lithen vessel Ethereal Chord. This is Admiral Marcus Thorne of the United Earth Fleet. We are responding to your distress signal. Do you require immediate medical assistance or emergency evacuation? Captain Vale, her hands trembling, opened a channel. It took her 2 attempts to find her voice. We do. We have multiple hull breaches, failing life support on lower decks, and many injured. Who are you? "We're from Earth." The bridge crew stared at each other, then back at the view screen now showing the formidable, blocky shape of the Vanguard. Earth, Terra, the Deathworld, a place of legend, nightmare, and extreme planetary classification, a subject of morbid fascination and quiet dread in xenobiology seminars. The SOS, born a clerical error, had reached the one civilization everyone feared might someday look outward, and they had not come to conquer. They had come to help. Lieutenant Anya Sharma led her Marine squad through the breached, smoky corridors of the Lithen ship. Her armored suit, a second skin of composite alloy, made her a giant of moving parts and silent hydraulics. To the cowering Lithen, they found huddled in storage lockers. The humans were mythical creatures, lumbering, invincible golems. They found cornered Cathar pirates who, in their rage and confusion, fired energy sidearms. The bolt sparked and fizzled against marine armor, leaving only scorch marks. The humans responded not with lethal force, but with controlled, non-lethal electromagnetic pulses that dropped the pirates in convulsing heaps. To the delicate Lithen, it was like watching titans from their oldest myths wage a war of effortless supremacy. Sharma found the bridge. The door half melted. She ordered her squad to secure the perimeter and then, with a hiss of equalizing pressure, removed her helmet. Captain Vale flinched instinctively at the sight. The firm jaw, the focused brown eyes that held a century of survival instinct, the raw, unaugmented physical presence of a human from a 1G Deathworld. "Your ship is secure, Captain," Sharma said, her voice gentler without the helmet's filter. "My medics are seeing to your wounded. My engineers are patching your life support. You defeated them so easily, like it was nothing." Sharma glanced at a scorch mark on her vambrace, then back at Vale. "Respectfully, Captain, that wasn't a fight. Not by our standards. The Cathar were predators picking on prey they assumed couldn't fight back." She paused, searching for words a peaceful species might understand. "On Earth, we had to get strong or we wouldn't have survived, not just as individuals, but as a whole species. Every day was a test. That changes you." The humans worked with a brisk, compassionate efficiency that further bewildered the Lithen. Medics in environmental suits gently treated Lithen injuries, their hands surprisingly deft despite their size. Engineers, speaking a technical dialect that sounded like poetry, rerouted power and sealed hull breaches with a strange polymer that hardened on contact with vacuum. An unspoken understanding began to grow in the quiet corridors. The galaxy's most peaceful species stood beside its most resilient, and neither was what the other expected. Weeks later, the human fleet, now accompanied by the slow-towing Ethereal Chord, approached the Lithen homeworld, Serenity. A grand reception awaited, not of warships, but of elegant, swirling civilian vessels and floating ceremonial platforms that bloomed like flowers in the solar wind. The Lithen High Chancellor, an elder named Elian, stood before the entire Galactic Confederation assembly, his image broadcast across 100 worlds. For ages, his voice echoed to a vast chamber and across space. "We have held a theory, a quiet bias. We believe that species forged in cosmic crucibles, on world extreme danger, could only reflect a harshness in their souls. That to survive such environments, one must become brutal, competitive, and ruthless." He turned, a graceful gesture toward where Admiral Thorne stood in his dress uniform, a stark, solid figure amidst a delicate Lithen. These humans, from a world of storms, tectonic rage, and biological arms races, crossed the void not to claim, but to answer. They defined themselves not by the harshness they endured, but by the compassion they choose to give. In saving strangers, they have shown us a new form of strength, not the strength to take, but the strength to protect. A new alliance was forged that day in the halls of Harmonium, not a treaty of mutual defense born from fear of a common enemy, but a covenant of shared principle, born from awe and a rediscovered hope. And across the stars, at faster-than-light speeds, the message spread. The Cathar piracy network, a blight on the sector for decades, collapsed along the border as word spread of the silent, precise armada from the quarantine zone. A new signal began emanating from threatened mining colonies and besieged research outposts, aimed deliberately at the once feared stellar coordinates of Sol. The message was always the same, a simple, repeating pulse of coordinates and a single, translated word: help. Admiral Thorne stood on the Vanguard's observation deck, looking at the stellar map. It was no longer a map of unknown threats, but one dotted with the gentle blue markers of allied systems and the urgent, blinking amber of incoming requests. Another distress call pinged on the long-range scanner, this time from a Galtrian agricultural world. Orders, Admiral? Commander Reed asked, a slight smile touching his own lips. The protocol manuals were being rewritten, and he found he didn't mind. Thorne allowed himself a faint, enduring smile as he watched the stars wheel by. It seems the galaxy has learned our address. Commander, the help is being sent directly to our inbox now. He took a last look at Serenity, a blue-green jewel hanging in the black. Set a course. Maximum sustainable burn. Let's not keep them waiting. For when the cry goes out into the chilling dark, when hope is a dying ember in an uncaring void, humanity will answer. They will come with the strength of their violent cradle world, tempered by the compassion their souls have chosen. It is who they are. It is what they do. And the galaxy, forever changed, breathes a little easier in the night. If you believe in a universe where strength protects the weak, where the hard lessons of a harsh world lead not to cruelty, but to guardianship, then like this video and subscribe to Winds of Thought. The story continues with you as we imagine what other calls might yet ring out from the darkness.